Hey there, this is Frank, CEO of Viral Marketing, where we help you get more sales from your number one asset, which is your database, your past clients, centers of influence, the people you've met, unconverted leads, by staying in touch with those people with educational videos, ideally 2 educational videos a month. And we do these hangouts, this database marketing hangout, to give you an idea of really how this is applied and that concept of building a database and communicating with those people with educational content, not sales content, but educational content consistently, then following up with those people that are consuming the content, which is possible to track by who's clicking links and emails for business. And I'm very excited to have Amanda Howard here, who's a top broker. She has her own brokerage in Huntsville, Alabama. Last year, they did about 3 million top line GCI for the whole office. So she's out of production now, but she has an office of many agents. We'll explain how that works. But she uses it in her business of getting her agents and, to prospect and ask for email addresses when they make contacts, and grabbing emails when they come in online and putting them into a database, and then having a very good communication plan in place to communicate with those people over a long period of time, because not everyone may be interested or buying and selling right now. And then she has a full-time, get this is probably the most important part. She has a full-time dedicated, customer client concierge that does nothing or pretty much just calls past clients in Sphere or the people opening and engaging the videos to get some feedback for a video blog and ask if they may be looking to buy or sell a house, which is pretty cool. So Amanda, thank you so much for being on the Hangout today.
Well, thanks for asking me, Frank.
Yeah. So here's how we want to start off here today. Let's just, and by the way, we have the Q&A box open here on the right. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. But why don't you just give us the brief story? You got 5 minutes, Amanda, of you got into real estate in the early 2000s, and now you have the number one brokerage, independent brokerage, on your own in Huntsville. In 5 minutes, tell us the story of how you did that.
Okay. Well, I got licensed in Chicago. We were only there a year. I had a baby, and we ended up moving back to South Florida, where my husband and I are from originally. Got my broker's license there. We were there a year, had another baby. And so then with a 2-month-old and a 2-year-old, we moved to Huntsville, Alabama. And that was January of 2004 is when I got my broker's license here in Huntsville, Alabama. And this is really where I started.
So you went straight into being independent. You didn't go shop around other brokerages to join.
I did join another brokerage, actually, because I didn't know anyone here in Huntsville. We made the move here without knowing anyone except for my parents, who are introverts in Owens Crossroads, the next town over of Huntsville. And so a 2-month-old, a 2-year-old, my husband and I moved into my parents' 1,200 square foot house while we figured out what we wanted to do with our lives.
Okay.
And Travis, my husband, thought that he could get into the IT business very quick and easy because he was very good at what he does. But we didn't research the market. We didn't see that you have to have a military clearance or some kind of background of who you know to make it in Huntsville. So for a year, he was looking for a job. So I had to start working. And what I did is I got licensed and went and worked at another company. And so right away, I just was beating the streets with my 2 kids in the car so he could go on interviews. After about a year, I was starting to work so much, he wasn't seeing me very often. So Travis started coming into the office to see what I was doing and said, I can't believe the way you're managing your clients. I mean, I'm all over the place. I was in the car and still just on the phone constantly. So he helped put my systems into a system that was much more streamlined. And that second year, and again, not knowing anyone, so I pretty much was just talking to anybody in grocery store lines and going and knocking on doors. I sold 72 homes that second year when Travis was supporting me with having systems and putting together a website.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, it launched me very quickly into being the top agent in our community. And in doing that, then I added an assistant and a couple agents, so that in 2009, I let the company know I was with that I either was hoping for ownership or I was going to need to go off on my own just based off the numbers. It was costing me more money to stay there than it would be to go independent. And they told me that it probably would be best for me to go off on my own, not realizing, and I'm surprised they didn't realize, that 70% of their business was done by me and 2 other agents that were on my team. And that was an office of 98 agents. So they actually kind of pushed us out very quickly when we got closer to time, when we found our building. So November of 2009 is when we went off on our own. And though I was pushed out, it was the best thing that we could have done because I really was in the nest too long. I was too scared to just go out on my own, but I knew I had to. But that push really launched us at one of the worst times in our marketplace, November 2009, where I was like, oh, I wasn't ready until I was thinking February of 2010 was when we were planning to make the move. But it just was the best thing that could have happened because the community here embraced us so quickly and then realized I didn't own that other company. They thought I did. So it was putting a bad name out there for me because of some of the actions of other agents that of course you're going to be associated with depending on whatever company you go with. You're going to be associated with good and bad. And so very quickly, we actually went up in business. We went 35% up in our first full year of opening. And then by the end of our second year, we had another 25% increase. And then we were free and clear company. We didn't owe anybody anything else. We were able to pay everything off from the start. And now we're just maintaining. And it's been great. So now we've been open since November 2009. We opened our second office just a year and a half, not even a year and a half ago. It was in April. So just over a year ago. And we're looking at our third and fourth office here shortly.
And you're expanding now, looking for other agents to help you in new markets.
Yes, we
That's
are.
incredible. And how many people did you say are in Huntsville? How big's the actual population?
The actual population is about 350,000 people, and that's for the metro area.
Yeah, and with all the radio and the television and the marketing that you're doing, like I'm sure everybody knows who you are in your brokerage.
It's pretty fun going to the grocery store and running into a bunch of people.
So from your story, which is interesting, you came to the area from complete scratch. And in the first 2 years after Travis helped you in the second year, you did about 72 deals from scratch. Now, is that from buying the leads or is that from going out and talking to people? Can you give me a little more in depth of where you found that business?
Well, we came here with $3,000. So we had no money and I couldn't go out and advertise. So literally that first year and a half, 2 years, I did no other marketing besides door-to-door knocking and me direct mailing, usually cards, and just going face-to-face, belly-to-belly with people. That's all I could do. After that second year, it was about a year and a half, that's when I found out about radio and television experts. And once I started on that and they got me right in to go do a show, I became the local expert. By that third year, everyone knew who I was and I could afford marketing. And then I was fortunate enough to meet you.
Yep. So you started with the prospecting. Then you added in some
Yes, it was
radio
all
and TV.
prospecting. Yes.
Then you brought us, and now in the very beginning, were you collecting contact information from your door knocking and prospecting efforts? Were you gathering the emails and the contact info of those people?
I was using Top Producer. It's a base system that a lot of people know, a lot of realtors know about it. And I was just entering everybody I could. I just was using a very basic system of follow-up that Top Producer creates. Travis then took that and started creating our own systems that were much better with that follow-up and reminders of just to reach out and touch people, find out what do they need or what their interests are, how's the family, those kinds of things. So it's like having another assistant just there to help me make the phone calls, because that's what it was for the first 2 years. Well, a year and a half, it was just me making all the calls. Candy, my first assistant, joined me about a year and a half in. Like I said, that second year, near the end of it, she joined me.
Okay. So at the end of that second year, you hear about spending money on marketing. So you're doing a few direct mail pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, I'm going to go jump in with radio and television. In your case, what you would do is you go to a radio station and do a educational, 15, 20-minute show? How long was the show?
I did an hour show.
An hour show? Once a week?
Yeah, once a week. It was tough work. I didn't realize what I was jumping into.
So you committed to do an hour educational program every single week.
Yes.
And that had to have been kind of a jump from just coming to a market with $3,000 and prospecting, making that money, and then having to throw that money back into marketing. Can you tell me more about that shift you had to make to spend some of your revenue on acquiring more business and where that came from?
It was very scary at first, of course. And then I realized, once I started understanding that, it's going to take money to make money. And the cards aren't cutting it anymore. Just direct mail pieces here and there. It's not cutting it anymore. I need to do something a little more broad span. And also you need a technology. So though I was emailing, doing all these direct things, I didn't have the support base to understand what I was doing and what to make it work. It was then after I got into radio and television experts, meeting these other agents who introduced me to other systems, that are just smart, savvy ways of being able to take yourself and take your message and get it out there to the masses in a much more effective way.
Okay. So you're doing the radio. What were the
Mhm.
other things that you were doing before you started with viral marketing? So you did radio. Were you doing the
I
online
was
buyer lead
getting
generation? Give me some other ideas. I want to know all the ways
sure.
you were generating contacts
Let's see.
before you hired us
Before
to nurture them.
I met you at an internet conference, so I know that we had gotten a great website with
Hmm.
Boomtown, and then we had started coaching with Corcoran Coaching and Consulting. So that combination of all of those things was just the whirlwind of fantastic moments that pushed us into place to just then excel, so that when we did open our company, that's the only reason we could launch so quickly and so efficiently, even though we were pushed before being ready, was because we had so many people behind us supporting us and that we could call on to ask for help and advice.
Okay. So I would assume that when you put those marketing systems in place, the radio and TV, as
Hmm.
well as the buyer lead generation through Boomtown, that your prospecting shifted from not so much outbound, but it really became more of responding to and qualifying the leads. Tell me
Exactly.
how what you were doing on the phones changed, because before it was all you knocking on doors and doing outbound, but now
Hmm.
that you spent the money on the marketing, which was financed from you prospecting,
Yes.
how did that change what you did during the day, or did it?
Oh, it did change quite a bit because now I was more on the phone. Where the other way, I didn't really know who to call, so I was constantly in the car. I'm not even joking when I would say I would knock on doors. My goal was 10 a day, and then to speak to 10 people just anywhere. So I had 20 people I needed to talk to every day, and I didn't have people to call. So I would go out into the field. It changed from me being hot and sweaty and driving all over the place and spending money on gas to I could sit at my desk, air conditioned, and make a lot more phone calls. So I was being a lot more efficient with my time. And I would block my morning for phone calls. I would do about 3 hours of phone calls a day. And then I would end up usually showing in for about 4 to 6 hours a day, showing and listing houses.
So it really changed from outbound prospecting to lead follow-up.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Because I had to get back to a lot of people.
So you had leads coming in. Were you doing Zillow, anything else? Just straight pay-per-click on Boomtown and radio, and that's what did it for you?
Yep, that was it.
Not bad. Well, you were probably one of the first ones in your market to do it with a good mover advantage.
I was, I was. So it was pretty exciting times. Like I said, it just felt like, gosh, I didn't realize it was such tough work before until I got Boomtown, and then I was able to have those leads coming in so I could follow up with them. And it just seemed like everything just started to multiply so much quicker
Okay.
when it came to our family so we could help.
So you had the emails coming in from Boomtown. You had
Hmm.
the contacts coming in from the radio ads. Maybe some people weren't ready to
Hmm.
list quite yet, but you got their information.
Right. Correct.
And then you also started building a database of past clients. So at this point, you're 3 years in, 4 years in,
Correct. I was
right
about
around
four
there.
years in by the,
Four
yeah, by
years
the time
in.
I get there.
How many past clients or did you acquire by now, or maybe even people in your sphere?
Goodness. I'm not even at that point in time. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what the true number would have been, but based off of sales, it would have had to been roughly 400.
So 400 past clients, 400 homes you've
Yes,
sold
yes,
in 4 years since you started.
correct.
And then at that time, you're doing radio and you were doing, uh, buyer lead generation online. What were you doing to stay in touch with those past clients before us, or all
Before
those
you,
leads you were
I
generating
was
before
using
us?
personal marketing.
Hmm.
It's a company that is just very efficient, again, for most realtors that you can sign your client up after you close on them and they'll follow up for you for 5 years. I was
What do
doing,
they say? What's the 5 year plan?
it is, it's been a while since I looked at it, but we still utilize it. I want to say it is 7 touches a year for 5 years, and it'll be like a calendar that has our image on it, and it'll be some newsletters. It's just cute little marketing materials, an anniversary card of the year when they purchased their home. So it's
So you would take
several.
all your past clients would go on that. Would you put your
Yes.
leads on that too?
No, just our past clients. Once they close, because it's a
Once
follow
they
up for
close.
that. For the leads that we currently have, that would be me on the phone as well. Just a reminding of a follow up system to either email them or call them once a month until they were ready to purchase or sell. And then we started adding emails in and doing little newsletters that I was creating of something that's cute going on. And also I volunteered on several committees to help the community. So I would share information on that. I would do a movie every year for actually, before I did the movie, I did fall festival. So I did fall festival at the Botanical Gardens a couple of years. And that was created a lot of fun and buzz. And before it got boring, I wanted to change it up. So then we did movies. So we were constantly just doing things that we could bring clients together to really enjoy us and see us as real people. And then we usually do a holiday party at the end of the year as well.
Okay. So you're doing that. Then you hear about viral marketing with their videos and their emails and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Why us? Why did you get involved with what we were doing if you already have the calling going on, you have the personal marketing going out to your past clients?
At the time I met you, I was at the point where I was again so busy, I was at capacity again. And every time you hit a plateau, I would just we'd grow with agents or I would just go crazy just for a little bit. And then I'd calm back down again. And I was at one of those points and that was my sticking point. I had just quit, but when I met you, I was quitting the radio show because I couldn't handle it anymore. I mean, an hour show, creating all the content for it, it was just too much. And I was wanting to stay in touch, but I was mentally drained. I was still working with listings. I didn't really work with buyers that as much anymore because I would bring on buyer agents for that. But I just was mentally drained of creative juices, I guess. And Viral offered that solution by having content that was already giving me ideas. So some days where I was just dead tired, I could use your exact cut and paste material because the first thing that you said to me was, well, why don't you do video? And I went, because I don't have time to do video and I don't have time to create any more content. And you said, well, what if I give you the content? And I went, oh, well, then maybe I'll create the video. That was all you took. And I went, oh, okay.
With the content.
Yes. And then okay, well, I can do that. And then I got to even every other week, or no, I was doing it weekly because I'd just taken off the radio show. This was my instead. I was doing that. So once a week, I was even getting burnt out. So you said, well, send out a survey to see what people want. Do they want to hear from you weekly, bi-weekly, or once a month? So I sent out the survey and I was praying at that time they would say once a month. But the survey came out like a really high, I think it was 80% said they wanted bi-weekly. So that's why I went to bi-weekly.
Twice a month.
Yes, twice a month. It's worked out fantastic ever since. Now when I get really creative, then I will write my own content. But then I like that I can always fall back to such a long library of information that I can look at and go, oh yeah, that really makes sense for right now. That's something I could share.
Okay.
And then one more thing I did add is now I really, every month or every third video, depending on what we've got going on, since I want it to be relevant, I am now promoting a charity that we also want to help. So like we did Free to Teach this week. And that I saw our open and click rates go up quite a bit because people care about their community. And if we're giving back to the community, that makes sense and helps them out too. So I see it creates a lot more engagement doing that nice mix of not just always about real estate, but also the community and real estate.
Okay. Can we go a little deeper on maybe some of the topics that you can remember, maybe you got some of the best engagement or some of the topics you did that just got the best result for you? Maybe your thought process a little bit deeper, you explain that, but
sure.
What can you give me more to help somebody with like, what do I say in these videos?
The best content and the best responses I've had are the ones that were not perfect, or I've totally screwed something up, or I did something off the wall. I remember my first one that oddly enough, still people talk about it, and I really think I should pull it back out, was I had just really gotten into fitness, and it was 4 years ago. So, I mean, that's a long time for somebody to still talk about it. I decided that we needed to take a different perspective on the marketplace. I was sick of hearing all the negative news. And so I did it by standing on my hands and reading the market report to give us a different perspective. And my dog kept coming in and licking my face, and I fell over once, and I was so out of breath when I did it, and everybody loved that one. They just thought it was the funniest thing. They said, oh, you're the realtor that stands on her hands and reads the market report to get a different perspective. And then another time I was very flabbergasted and frustrated. I mean, this is real life for me, but I don't like doing a bunch of takes, so I'll just kind of do it. And that morning I was so busy that I took my kids to school, almost dropped them off just to find out school was closed that day. And so I came in, I did it, the report, and I'm like, and I'm sorry, but I have got to vent. Did anybody else know that school was out today? Because I took my kids and almost left them at school, and school's closed today. I'm like, oh, I hope I'm not the only other mother that's just working her tail off and running out of time. And I got a ton of responses. I have so many emails back. Like people just emailed me right back of that was the funniest thing ever. Yes, I could tell you've been working a lot, or they were being supportive. Like it's okay. All moms get a little frustrated at times and frazzled. You're handling it so well. So those are the kinds of things that really get people engaged because it's not now. Hello, I'm Amanda Howard at Amanda Howard Real Estate, and today is our June market report. They just don't care about that. Some people want to hear the facts because we do have a high population of engineers in our town, but they really want to see the real life and how somebody really reacts to something funny or something that's just plain entertaining.
Okay. How much time does this all take? So when you put in this stuff out, how much time are you investing into doing all this?
Now I have our director of concierge services. So that is part of her job, is to either look at your content or find creative local content that's very current. So many times she's already drafted something for me. I look at it, I add my tweaks, we sit down and we cut it. And I mean, our quickest has been 5 minutes. Our longest has been 30, but a lot of times if it's the longest, it's because we're doing 2 or 3 reports at the same time that we want to stack in case I'm going to be going
a month. So 5 minutes or
yes.
30 minutes a month you put into this.
Yes.
And you're lucky. So you're fortunate to have a director of concierge, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But normally we would come in and interview you and help you come up with a topic. But you have someone there that's even going deeper, like deep into the local community.
Yes.
Beyond what we can do out of our company in Omaha, Nebraska. Come up with something super relevant. And you're shooting it, putting it together, using the principles that we showed you with lighting and sound and everything, and send it on in, which is great.
Yeah. And well, like when I talked to you a week or 2 ago, you said, you should do this. You should shoot this video. You told all of us to do it.
Yep.
I'm like,
shot it
okay, hung up, I turned around, and we just shot it. I'm like, it's a good hair day. Let's just do it right now.
That's great. So yeah, you are very good with your videos, Amanda, and that's why you get good results with that. And we'll get into what those results are or how you interpret why you keep doing this. But really what now is probably the most exciting part is, when you send these videos out, as you have 500,000, 10,000, however many emails, you're like, of these people, who are the people that are most interested, that might be interested in actually buying or selling a house? And when you send this video out, you can track who actually watches the video or who clicks on a link that may be interested in searching for homes online or maybe getting their free value report, what their home is worth. And it gives you a report of who clicked those links, and you certainly want to prioritize your phone call follow-up. Now, you don't have time to do that anymore.
Right.
And what you did is you have someone make those calls for you.
Yes.
So I'd like to hear everything you could tell me about that position, what they do, how you brought it on, maybe what the compensation you recommend. But you have this client concierge person, which is all about adding that next touch through database. Right. I haven't heard of too many teams, too many agents having that position. Tell me more about it.
Your past clients, I feel, are the most important and valuable piece of your business. And that's the way you can grow. Is it's better to have a raving fan or somebody who loves you and still keeps talking good about you than it is to have to go out and find somebody fresh and new. So that's why it was important to me to maintain them. And I was not happy with what we were doing to maintain them because it was just getting a little too much for me. And I was even dividing it up and reminding everybody we have to do a call night this week. Everybody, we're just going to knock out 15 phone calls to our past clients, and all of us would do it. It was getting done, but it just felt so forced because of us doing that in that manner. So I hired our director of concierge services. She came in, and I just hired her first as part-time because she's just such a great person. And she loves people. She's always happy and bubbly. She's naturally positive. I mean, she's somebody who you think is fake or just off of a Dr. Seuss book. And she's not. This is the way she is all the time. So she was the perfect person. I knew exactly what I wanted her for that position. And so I actually chased her down. I talked to her for about a year before she finally would accept the position. And she accepted because it was part-time and flexible. And I'm like, I don't care if first I want you to be here at the office, but I'm willing to let you do it at home, offer her all kinds of flexibility. And she jumped on it. Well, now she's addicted to the position. She always wants to be here at the office. She asked to move full time. She kept learning more. So actually, we do have her full time. So she's a full time salaried position right now, and she just loves her job.
What does she do? Tell me the role. What's the job duties and description of this role?
She's in charge of our past client activities, our community events, she sends out all of our birthday cards. She calls all of our past clients. At least I'd like to see everybody touch once a year. It's getting a little tougher, but she's at least going through the rounds, making those rounds. She takes care of any outgoing referrals, meaning if we send somebody in a referral to another state or outside of our marketplace, she maintains the relationship with that client to ensure that they have an advocate here locally to ensure that they're happy wherever they went to, and we'll help them out if needed. She's over our vendor programs to make sure our vendors are happy who are working with us and that we're making them as much money as possible, as well as that they're offering amazing service for our clients. That's one of those trade-offs. It's anything to do with that outside relationship with the community. It's keeping her involved there so that she can reach out to past clients and keep us more tied in and involved with the community.
That's great. And not too many people have that position. What's the ROI in that position, Amanda?
We are getting better at tracking that. It's not been, well, she's now been with us for 1.5 years, and we have doubled our past client referrals. So that is something that we are tracking as an ROI. I mean, all it takes
is to close, you figure it all out, but at least your referrals have doubled from the most valuable referral source possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good. And our goal now is to have 40% past client business or referrals in, and I believe we're up to 32% now.
Great. Now, she's also calling the open and click reports we send you, right?
Yes, she is, because that's a fun one for her as well, because she's helping me create content. It gives her a reason to call and just say, hey, I saw that you were watching our newsletter. We just wanted to reach out to you and say, what is your favorite thing that you love about the newsletter? And we wanted to see if you could give us any ideas or tips of things you'd really like to see, then maybe we could make it more compelling or interesting for you. And then as they talk, because again, she's just so fun to talk to, once they start talking and giving her ideas, she goes in, oh, and by the way, if you are ever thinking of purchasing or selling real estate, of course, we really hope that you will think of us first. And it'll sometimes lead down that path where they'll go, well, I actually was kind of thinking about it. Well, yeah, they clicked the link, we know. Yeah. But we don't want to just tell them that we saw that they were clicking the link.
The correct word is, I see you subscribe.
Okay, so we'll need to use.
You subscribe will be a little soft. I see you're clicking my links.
Yes. Okay, I'll put see you subscribe.
See you subscribe. That's great. All right. So for everyone watching so far, we've covered how Amanda got into the business. We've covered how she started off with prospecting. So you financed your way. You led with revenue, Amanda, before you started spending money on marketing.
Right.
All right. And then you did radio and TV, which is great for you, but you did it in a very education-based format with a weekly radio show for an hour, which is very impressive to come up with an hour of content every single week. Good job on that. And then after that, you put in place a website to help generate leads online. So then your time went from prospecting to now lead follow-ups. Now you're on the phone more in the office, being more efficient.
Yes.
Okay? You had the personal marketing company sending out mailers over a period of 5 years to your past clients. But then you heard about us saying that we can take all those emails and let's get a communication plan in place with videos to all of them. Okay. Stay in touch. And then you have a dedicated person calling and following up and communicating with the people in your database to try to find referrals.
Right.
Essentially. Covered so far. So I have to ask, and it's hard to measure, but what's the best is, so you put in place viral. What results do you see from that when that starts going out? Like with these videos going out and the stuff on Facebook, how do you know that's working?
Because of hearing about the relevance that they find in the material. And we do look at those click reports every single time we get them. We want to see who's clicking. I watch people who unsubscribe. If I see people, or if we have several that are unsubscribing, then I start diving down to find out, well, was it our content? Or is it something that we're posting on social media, like we're posting too many houses that we've listed or something like that just gets a little annoying. So I dive down pretty deep on those reports and use and look at just about everything on there. It's extremely important to me. I love those reports.
Good. And you're still doing it. I mean, you probably get the number one thing I would say for somebody that wants to see results with virals is see their referrals going up. That
Yes.
makes it even more difficult to track because you've hired someone to actually get those referrals. So it even makes it a little more convoluted to track directly to viral. But I would just say is when someone calls you and you ask them, did you happen to see my videos, my content that influenced your decision to maybe talk to me today or to take this phone call? And if you hear more yeses than nos, that's definitely influencing the decision of people to visit with you.
Very true. Very true.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned you had a vendor program.
Hmm.
Are you involving your vendors in any way with the digital marketing and the video marketing that you're doing?
We do. We have them sponsor it, so we always put them at the bottom. All of our preferred vendors we put there at the bottom. Then we also like to have them on time to time. We don't want it too much because we don't want it to get boring. But I did have a mover come on and just talk about, he actually let me know. He said, "Hey, Amanda, just so you know, this is happening right now, we're just getting so backed up that people are getting upset that they call for help from a mover but can't get any help because everybody's booked up." So we did a little segment on that. And we've also had, when we hear scary news in the about mortgage rates going up, or there's a challenge somewhere in the marketplace, we'll have one of our vendors come on and share that. Another one of our reports that actually did get really, really good reviews because I put on a home inspector, like full gear suit, and went under a house with the home inspector. And I actually got really sick because we found out I'm allergic to mold and there was mold under the house. But it was one of those viral videos that just did really, really well, had the most watches, and people responded and thought it was hilarious because I started doing like the little military shuffle on my belly and all kinds of things. It was
Oh,
a
that's
great,
great.
but it's very informative report. It did give people information that they needed to know, and it helped promote another vendor.
Great. So you do include your vendors in your videos to help get them some exposure, which
Yes.
could potentially be wrapped into some type of MSA. People go down that path to help finance things. But the more important thing is you're bringing these people into your videos to help create more content. You're helping other people in the community get more exposure, which is good.
That's pretty much it. What I've realized that works best for us is if I'm able to reach out and help other people in the community, they in turn are there to support us 100%, because it's about how much you give out to your community. It's going to come back to you.
Okay. So that's how Viral can help with bringing vendors involved from a co-marketing standpoint.
Oh yeah, they love it.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. It's like free marketing for them out to your list of buyers and sellers who hire them.
Yeah, and then I send them the video as well so they can share it on their social media sites or send out in their own newsletters.
And then to take it to a step further is exactly what you said is you could take that piece of content and not only you promote it to your database, but ask them to promote it to theirs, which helps you get access to their list as well, which is huge.
Oh, that's right.
So now you've grown to a point where you have so many leads or you have so much business that you need to help people to help serve it, which is your agent. So how many agents do you have working for you now in your office?
We now have 17. I just took a poll to see how many we had. We know that we need more. We're actually on a path right now where we actually need 7 more locally. And then we have a neighboring community called Gunnersville that is our next move. And we really need 5 there to start it properly, especially with the number of people that are calling us with interest of wanting help. And we can't service that market from our market here.
Okay.
So yeah, 5 in Gunnersville, 7 locally is what we're looking for.
So how do you plan on communicating how you can help agents in that market to partner with you?
We've already had 1 or 2 reach out to us and understand that our marketing already covers that marketplace. That's why we're getting phone calls from there, which is really
Just your normal
quite
real
cool.
estate marketing.
Yes, just our normal, what we do here. So we're not going to have to really expand much there. What we're going to do is same that I do here. I'm going to reach out to help the community where I see that there's needs that we can serve them. So when we do that, again, it just gets that word out very quickly, I find. And when the proof's in the pudding, when you're selling houses like crazy and we're getting them sold, we just had another one that sold before it even hit the marketplace, when it's almost unheard of. Our days on market here is about 120 days. We just have a very efficient system. We market really hard to get the house sold so we can make people more money because they don't have to hold on to it for so long. And for our agents, we offer excellent coaching. And they have such an amazing support system here with our support team, as well as the coaching from me and our sales manager. And we have the Corcoran coaching. So they're getting coached from 3 different levels. It helps those agents excel. So even the agents who came in here saying, I was hoping to make about 60 to 70,000 a year. And I know that's pretty tough. I've done it before, but I was working about 80 hours a week. Well, now we're helping them trim down to work 30 to 40 hours a week, a lot more efficient, and now they're in the 6 figures. So, right.
Yeah, they're happy.
Yeah. What it comes down to is, are you being efficient with your time, and are you being profitable, and are you serving your clients well? And they also saw that they're able to serve the clients better because they have such a strong support system here in the office.
For sure. So do you plan on switching so you're creating this educational buyer seller community content for your real estate business, but as you move more into a recruiting role, as you're growing your business to new markets, to recruit new agents that this maybe necessarily aren't covered by your real estate marketing, where they know that you guys are great at what you do.
Yeah.
How do you see using video and education-based marketing or viral marketing in that recruiting process going down in the future?
I can see already what we are creating now is what you just said. We're putting training on short videos, and I've even made some of them even shorter, such as my listing presentation. It's a longer presentation. I have it recorded where I have done the whole presentation start to finish, but I'm finding now from my listing agents that I'm bringing on, I'm now getting them up to speed with 50 listings in about 60 days, just based off
Bringing a
of
new agent on in 60 days with 50 listings?
Oh yeah, we know
That's
how to get
incredible.
it done. We just need them trained well.
Yeah.
So they are now. What I'm doing is breaking the listing presentation down into just small segments. So I will only do maybe 2 or 3 pages of the presentation, but it helps them break it off in bite-sized pieces, because we understand different personalities learn different ways. So they can watch the full one, they can shadow us, or they can watch the bite size, or sometimes it's a combination of all of it. So we're really, really big on focusing on our training here, and have been for the last year and a half since we brought on a sales manager who can focus on that. And she just keeps diving deeper onto what it is that we do and why we do it, and then recording it so that they can have a quicker training process.
Yeah, not even for your new recruits, but anybody that you met with that you want to come join real estate with you, I'll be sending those to you so they kind of get an idea what it's like to work with your team and the culture and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Keep it in mind. All right, good. I think it's a good progress. If there's any questions from anyone watching, feel free to ask them here on the right, and I'll be happy to ask Amanda. But Amanda and I are participating in something new we're doing at Viral, which I want to cover briefly, is the concept of advertising on YouTube and Facebook. And I don't know, Amanda, why don't you just tell the story of how you even thought about doing that in the first place, and some of your ahas, at least maybe through the process of working with me to where we are now. I mean, I just want to hear your story on, like, oh, maybe I should go on YouTube until, where we are at right now with our little group of testing out ads and that process.
Well, what's interesting or funny was that I know that social media is important. And at that time of when we first started talking about this, I was also hating it so much. I was like, goodness, we are getting so many leads messaging me directly on my personal Facebook rather than going through the right process in my mind, which really it's not the right process. There's this different level. Communication's just changing. So I was like, man, we've got to do something better to increase our business page on Facebook. And then also the wave of the future that everybody who really focuses on marketing understands, it's video. Because we went from that Pinterest type of advertising where everybody wants to see pictures, they don't want to read anything, to now they really don't want to look at pictures. They want more content to see quicker. So they would rather a video. And I wanted to improve that video side of things as well. So I was talking to some of the other agents that I think do a good job of it. And right at that time, where I was probably a week or 2 in, I had 2 of them say, you know what, you should ask Frank about that. Or, oh, that's so funny, I just had that question too, and I had just asked Frank. That Frank, I'm going to have to give him a call. And so I did. I reached out to you, and you're like, I was actually just going to be emailing you about this beta, that test that we want to go, because it's very obvious this is the next direction of marketing that is going to be very important for everyone, and they need to jump on now before it's too late. And so I was like, yes, please have me be a beta person.
Yeah, so tell me about What was it like when I took you behind AdWords and Facebook? When I
Oh,
opened
I
up
thought
the
you were
advertising
talking
back
Greek.
then?
I was looking cross-eyed. You kept going, isn't this exciting? I'm like, I'm so excited, but I have no idea what you said.
Yeah, but so what we're doing is I was showing you how you can retarget videos to the people who come to your website,
It is
right?
unbelievable. Yes, the targeting is incredible. I was
How
thinking just
precise.
everything that you said. Yes, there were
Well,
so
no,
many things
everything.
that you
There's
said.
a lot
It
there,
was
but think
way
about.
too much.
But tell me about the targeting. What did you see? What was the big aha from the targeting that you took away from the online advertising? What's possible?
I loved how the old school way of target marketing in mail, direct mail, you would say you want a certain neighborhood. You could just target that neighborhood, and or you could just do what I did of walking the streets. You can just walk the neighborhoods of where you were interested. That was our target marketing before, and it was very time consuming. Now that I can just click what neighborhood, what age range, what
Price
their
point,
income is,
square
that they're
footage.
looking for a house, all the stuff that you can target that we could never do before, it's just phenomenal. And I'm just so excited about it. I'm so excited about the opportunity and the potential. And each week I'm getting more and more excited of going, oh, here's another idea. I didn't even think of how we could utilize that. Let's just do this one.
Yep. So Amanda's in a small coaching group. It's a little test we're running here. I get about 8 or 9 clients here at Viral. We get together on a go-to meeting, and we basically at a very high level run YouTube ads to follow your leads around and to stay in front of your past clients on YouTube as well as on Facebook. But you can also take it to a step further where you can actually run ads to like a mile around a specific address or a specific zip code, which is what Amanda was saying.
Yes.
And you can like literally just be like, this campaign's only gonna be for that neighborhood, this campaign for that neighborhood, this campaign for that neighborhood. And you can actually not only target the area, but you can target homeowners who are actually likely to move based upon their online behavior. Crazy,
It's
huh?
incredible what they
And
can
you can
crack out.
be in front of those people. And I think like no one's doing it. So the engagement costs that we're getting for Amanda are like 3 to 5 cents per engagement on Facebook, or like 5-8 cents of you on YouTube. And just for a point of comparison for anyone watching this, since obviously viral marketing, we want to be in touch with professionals, or in this case, those in real estate. We pay on Facebook $1.75 per engagement. Amanda, you're getting them at 3 cents.
I know.
So just to give you a point of comparison and how cheap that audience is. That's one of the things that we're doing here to kind of like keep things cutting edge and to think about how we can be using advertising more, because you're creating this great content. And yes, you're sending it to your existing database, which you have to be building. But could you also maybe you can't build it fast enough, could you just buy it? Could you buy that audience? And you can actually do that very specifically on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're interested in that, reach out to us and we could talk a little bit more about that. So Amanda, what else? What are some other things that you enjoy that you're getting value out of from Viral that we haven't talked about already? Is there anything that comes to mind?
The support. The first thing that came to mind is the support at Viral. I how's the best way to describe this? I really was not utilizing you all for much support because I was never used to a company that offered support, if that makes sense. Yeah, there's companies
more
who
support.
enjoy our business.
Yeah, support
and
ticketing was your probably your previous experience of like email customer support, or here's a support ticket, whereas here you have like a
yes.
dedicated person.
Well, yeah, to be honest, it's not only just a dedicated person, it's that she actually wants to help with everything. That I was like, I thought it had to be a video question. I was only asking her video questions. And then as I was talking to some of these other realtors that I'm friends with, I'm like, oh, well, how did you do that? Like with video on YouTube's. And they're like, oh, I just asked Frank, or I just asked Lindsay. And I went, what? Why'd you ask them that? And he said, well, they said ask him about anything, which I thought it was just lip service. And then now I'm like asking, because I think I've had 2 years behind on asking for anything, which you guys are always happy to give, and you sincerely mean it that you guys want to help. If I ask you a question anywhere, I'll see you at the conferences and I stop you to ask questions, but I never just reach out to ask. And so the support has been even more amazing now that I know I actually can, because I'm okay with a no or I'll find out. It's just knowing that I now have somebody else, another voice I can lean on and ask for help with.
Good. Yeah. So when you started off, I wrote this marketing plan. So if anyone's watching this, it's called the database reset. It's how to reconnect with your neglected past client sphere lead database. So if you have all these emails, you haven't really done much, how do you reconnect with them, round them up, and communicate with them going into the future? And that's on the marketing plan, the database reset. That's the core of our program, thedatabasereset.com. You can get that 20-page marketing plan. That's what we implement for you here at Viral. But once you master the art of asking for email addresses, publishing your 2 videos a month, and then calling the people who watch them, or in Amanda's case, hiring somebody who calls them, which is great. What are some other things we can do? Well, we talked about the co-marketing, bringing vendors in. We talked a little bit about maybe you could use videos for recruiting on some level to help recruit top salespeople to your office. And then we also discussed maybe a little bit of advertising. Maybe if you're lucky enough to have an advertising budget and you're doing enough business where you can dedicate a few thousand or sometimes even more than a few thousand a month on media, how can we get that message out to even more people? So talk to us. If you're a current client watching this, there's some other things we can do, and I'm happy to get on the phone with you, or anyone here at Viral is happy to talk to you about those extra things, as long as you're following the core of the program, which has been easy for you, Amanda, because you have someone dedicated in your office to help us help you.
Yes,
which is great.
It's been fantastic.
So you're very lucky. So the support's really good. I'll ask you one more question. We don't have any other questions coming in here, so we don't have to go the full hour on this. No need to go too long. But one last thing. If somebody wanted to be successful with us, so they're thinking, all right, video, oh my gosh, my database, all the people I know, oh my gosh. What do they need to know to be a successful client so they get the results like you have? What would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
The biggest thing that I see that people, where they fall off, is because they think that I should have a response immediately my very first time or my second time or a month in. They've got to be consistent so people understand that there's a trust value there, where they don't want to see the flavor of the month. And I see too many realtors do that on anything and everything, any kind of advertising. They just want to do it for 30 to 60 days and see if they get results. And I feel to truly give a true test to any good piece of marketing, you have to give it 6 months to a year just to see that value and start seeing that return, to really track it, especially if you're not known. Now, when I test things, yes, I have a quicker return, but it's because I've built that trust in name brand in the community, so that they want to see what I'm doing that's going to be new. So I'm very fortunate in that manner, but it's not really fortunate, is it, if I actually have been working my tail off at it for the last 9 years? So anything, whether it's doing the YouTube videos with Viral, or it's doing a bi-weekly or every other week video, whatever they want to do, it's just be consistent with it and give it the fair shot that it actually deserves, which is do it consistently for a solid 6 months, if not a year, to then track and ask those deep questions. Like you mentioned, oh, is that, was it the video that got you to call? What we do is we always ask 3 questions deep. We just say, how was it that you came about hearing about us? Oh, well, I just hear from you everywhere. Okay, that's fantastic. Well, what was it that actually got you to pick up the phone today? That's only 2 questions deep, but there's always different things that you can ask to find out how did they actually really call or email in.
Great. That's a great tip. I'll take it.
So
Amanda, thanks for sharing your knowledge today, and thanks for everyone else here that watched this. If you want to get in touch with Amanda or see her videos, just Google Amanda Howard Huntsville. I'm sure all of her stuff will come up, as well as on YouTube. You can see her video blog and examples of what she's done. And if you're interested in Viral, there's 2 things I'd like you to do. First is go read that database reset. The databasereset.com is 20 pages. It's the core marketing plan about a reconnected database. So check that out. All the scripts are in there, the way to structure the topics. It's the core of what we do. We lead, if it's your first time and your first time experience with Viral, go check that out. And if you are interested in visiting with us after review all the content on the website, watch more of these Hangouts, watch the How It Works videos, see how the whole program comes together. Request a free strategy session on our website, and you'll talk to one of the senior partners here at our company to really learn about your business. And based upon size of your database, how long you've been in business, even the profession you're in, you don't have to be in real estate, we can give you a pretty good idea of the results you can reasonably expect based upon what's working for other clients when they implement this. So feel free to reach out to us. And Amanda, I just want to say thank you very much. And
it's been my pleasure.
That's it. Everyone have a great day.
Thanks, Frank.